halfway through my vaccination, so I'm almost ready to venture back out into the world and hug people again. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm ready. I'm fully vaxxed up. So I've been out and about, and it's a great feeling.
Isn't it just? I mean, it's great to have you joining us to talk about your career and also about Tomb Raider and about Lara Croft.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been an actress for over 2 decades with extensive credits to your name, including appearances on stuff like Cold Feet and Peep Show and The Spooky Sisters and Casualty.
Yeah.
Obviously, you are possibly best well known for being the first voice actress for Lara Croft in the original Tomb Raider back in 1996.
Yes.
Just to talk about very briefly about sort of getting into voice acting and sort of like dovetailing into becoming Lara Croft. I mean, how did that all come about?
Well, at the time I was on the West End stage. I was doing lots of musicals. I'm kind of all singing, all dancing, all acting. So I was doing I was doing a show in the West End, and in that show I had to do lots of different accents. And somebody came to see me backstage and said after the show and said, "I loved all your accents. Do you have any representation for voices to be a voiceover artist?" And I said, "No, not at all." And she said, "Well, I'm a voiceover agent and I'd like to take you on." And so that was how I got signed, which was a huge fluke. And then I think the second job I auditioned for was Lara. Oh, wow. And it was as easy as that. I'd like to tell you there was some story I worked my butt off, and no, it was so easy. And it doesn't always happen like that, I appreciate, but I was very lucky.
Oh, fantastic. In that case, I mean, when it came to being introduced to the whole idea of becoming Lara Croft, I mean, what was the kind of that conversation like? I mean, how were you introduced to the project?
Well, what I'd heard already was that Eidos and Core Design had been looking for the voice for such a long time, 6 to 9 months, I think it was. It didn't really mean anything to me, A, because I'm not a gamer, B, because they said they'd only ever done children's games before, so they weren't sure how it was all going to go. I don't know, it was just something I just auditioned for. So they sent me, they faxed me back in the day a picture of her, just a rough sketch of her and a few lines. So I just, they said, an adventurer, feisty, well-spoken, and I just did it as I read it as I saw fit and left it at that, recorded it, sent it off by post, and waited. And a few days later, they rang and wanted to do a conference call. It still didn't really hit me that, oh my God, this is going to be a massive game, because nobody knew it would be. No. And for me, it was just a gig I was auditioning for, and it was great practice for me as a voiceover artist to audition. That's how I saw that at the time.
Right, because I mean, I know that we looking into like the history of the development and certainly what Core were doing and what Toby Gard was bringing to it. Because I know that he said that he had several ideas for the actual characterization of Lara. Yes. I mean, was that presented to you at all? And also, did you? I know that you say it was only your second job as a voiceover artist. Did you have that kind of like gumption to kind of give any hints or any kind of ideas towards the characterization of Lara, or was it really I'll just read the lines?
I think I was just dipping my toes in at that point, so I was a bit nervous to say, I feel like this, or how do you feel about that? But they continuously told me, like a Sean Connery Bond without the Scottish accent, and bring it back. Don't give her too much personality. Oh, wow. Keep her very flat. I found that hard. I'm very expressive, and I wanted to go for it a bit more. And every time I did, they'd pull me back. But it was fun just to see how a character could develop. And back in those days, it was obviously the game was so basic compared to now, where it's so filmic. So it's funny to see how it's all grown. Also with people doing mocap now when they do the voices, I didn't have to do any of that. I just went in, blah blah blah, left, and that was it. And then all of a sudden she was everywhere.
Wow. I mean, I think I find that interesting that you were asked to kind of pare it back, because I think that gives people, they kind of present, they'll put their own character into it. Then they kind of imprint their own impressions of the character on the character.
And as I've heard the voices go along, Judith and Janelle, I think more with Janelle, they allowed her to express herself more, put herself into it a little bit more than they did allow with Judith and myself. And I would have liked to have been able to express myself more in there. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm doing a job. I do as directed, and that is my job. And so I did what they wanted. So, I can't blame them.
I mean, I find it all interesting hearing you saying this, especially when my favorite description of the Lara Croft voice was from the New York Times, who said described it as sexier than Kathleen Turner as Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
When you hear that quote and you tell me that you're asked to pare it back, you go, really? Sexy?
I know.
Okay. Your natural voice then.
Yeah, I didn't find her very sexy at all. So it's funny, isn't it? But I guess with the whole, the shorts and the boobs and the, this, that, and the other, it all, became sexy. But it's funny how people hear you.
Yeah, I mean, were there any other touch points or performances or even real life friends that you drew on when it came to putting on the voice for Lara?
No.
Oh.
There wasn't. No, because anytime I tried to, think about someone or think of a different way of saying it, they'd go, no, pull it back. So there was no chance to, I was in there for 5 hours. I just, said the lines, deadpan, very flat, and left.
Okay. I mean, what was because obviously there's the voice acting for video games very much wasn't the norm back in the mid-90s as it is today. So it is a whole new process for an actor. I mean, what was your original thoughts being in that session on the process of recording lots of dialogue snippets for your performance to be then dissected by the decisions of the player? I mean, what was what was your thoughts on the whole thing?
I didn't think about that, not being a gamer. That didn't cross my mind, but I do remember just being fascinated to be in the room with all these people giving their input about this one tiny little character, with so many people giving their opinions, and the discussions about a line, and I just, it was fascinating to be part of, fascinating to watch, and then to see it all come together at the end. Oh, that's why, and that's why. It was quite a magical process. Yeah.
And how long did it take from that recording to the finally seeing Lara on a screen?
I'm going to say a year.
Wow.
I think it was a year. It was whenever Face magazine came out. I don't know when that was. But when I walked past a newspaper stand and I saw that near Carnaby Street, I just whoa, that's the character I did. That's when I really realised. And again, I didn't actually properly realise until around about the 20th anniversary when I joined Twitter, and I realised the fans worldwide and how many games there have been since. I didn't have a clue, and the passion and how Lara and the game has brought so many people together from all over the world. She's an icon, and she really has brought people together. Whichever Lara you love, whichever games you're a fan of, it's brought people together, and it's quite fabulous to be part of.
Yeah. I mean, for myself, and when it comes to for the performers of a game, when it comes to voice actors, I think for myself, it's when they connect with fans at conventions and events like Wales Comic Con. I mean, the heart of that is connecting the character with the fans. I mean, what has been the demographic, the split for those original gamers that come up to see you at conventions and talk to you, being fans of your performance of Lara? What's the kind of age group?
I get all ages, and I'm very, very surprised that they seem younger than more my age or older. So they seem to be at conventions. They seem to be 25 and down to 6. I have a lot of little fans, but online on social media it seems to be older. But it's it's brilliant to see younger people coming and just saying, wow, you'd presume they'd be playing all Camilla's games, the later games, but they, I'm into the first game. Wow, to see these 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds, it's really fantastic. And to hear people's stories, I hear people's stories from all over the world about how they got into the game and how Lara helped them, and whether they were feeling depressed and on the verge of committing suicide, and their only kind of outlet was to sit and play Tomb Raider, and if Lara can do it, I can do it. And it's unbelievable to hear everybody's stories, and it's magical. Yeah. Really is.
I mean, one of my best friends is an absolute massive OG Tomb Raider fan, and his daughters, who are now a little bit more grown up, remember, and I remember kind of getting into Tomb Raider via them as well, because they were watching their father play Tomb Raider. So that who's that girl on the screen? Yeah, there's a girl on the screen.
Fantastic. And isn't that something, that it was a girl that everyone was playing? It was a girl, not a fella, not your superhero who's all brawn, and it was a woman, and women could relate to her, and men believed her, fancied her, and it was totally okay for her to be shooting and killing, and it was okay by men. They got it. Yeah, that's quite a thing. A female. It's wonderful.
What was your first impressions when you actually saw her moving and up on the screen? You saw the original design in that artwork that was faxed to you. I mean, to actually finally see her voluptuous form bouncing around. I mean, what was?
I couldn't believe they'd modelled her on me. I thought it was cheeky. No, I just thought she was foxy. She's just foxy. I loved everything about her. Everything about her. I loved her look. I love her spirit. I love her as a role model. I think she's great.
I mean, you said that you first kind of got an idea of how big Lara was going to be when you saw the advert for on the Face magazine. Yeah. Which for the younger members of the congregation was a popular magazine which you used to hold in your hand, and not to just scroll through.
Do you know, I was looking on a magazine the other day. I was looking at a home magazine, and I actually turned the page and went like that to try and to make the picture bigger. Oh, yes, it was a magazine. Yeah. Handheld.
Oh wow. So you kind of got that inkling, but when Lara went big, she went, like you say, she went worldwide. She got it was worldwide, the interest in the character. I mean, when did that sink in? When did that really kind of come home to you, just how big of a cult? I mean, I really like the idea that even in Derby, where Core Design was hosted, they had Lara Croft Way.
I know, it's fantastic.
It's incredible.
That's brilliant.
When did that really sink in? When
I think the following year, when I went to America to film a short film, and all the crew were they were from Brooklyn and the Bronx, and they were all Lara mad. So to see these guys across the pond that knew about her and could quote the lines, and that's when I thought, oh wow, this is something. But I apart from that, I really had no contact with it, didn't know anything about it until about a year before the 20th anniversary. And then I saw how many fans and the fact that people remembered it was a 20th anniversary coming up. There was going to be a concert, and there was going to be a this and a that, and just unbelievable.
Incredible.
No clue before that.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the fans are at the heart of what has continued Lara Croft as an icon. And I'm certain there's been a fair few fan interactions over the years that stand out in your memory. What has been some of your favourite fan interactions that stick out in your mind?
Well, I love going to Comic Cons and seeing them all dressed up, and it's mainly men dressed up as Lara, which I love. We had a few come to the concert, dressed up in the whole thing. But for me, it's seeing the little kids coming. Shout out to Emily, who comes to see me at Comic Cons, and it's to see them dressed up, or just to see the love for the game at such a young age, and it's very, very, very special.
Fantastic. I know that you're the president of Yakety Yak Voice Talent Agency, which is an acclaimed home for this some of the country's most established actors. And it is, like we said at the top of the conversation, it was a totally different landscape for the gaming community to get voice actors and to kind of get the talent involved. What do you think has been what are the biggest changes that you've seen in the landscape of voice talent over the years, especially in video games?
I can't really talk for video games because I haven't, apart from the fact that, you know, now everyone does mocap with it. It's much more involved. Of course, you're acting. I was still acting because you're performing, but now everything's involved. You're actually doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, so they get all the motions of the character.
You think there's more of the actor being projected into the
yes,
the
much more.
Yeah.
Much more physically, the physicalities. But I think what's changed in the voiceover world is how many people are doing it. When I started, there was a handful, just a little pool of talent. I say talent, that's what we're called, a little pool of talent. And, a handful of voiceover agencies. Now there are hundreds of voiceover agencies and everybody's doing it. And it's every actor does it on the side. People try to get in all the time. The amount of people I have saying to me, I want to do that. How do I get into it? How do I get into it? It's a much more respected career now, and also especially with Corona and lockdown that we've had, it's been an incredible way for people to make a living from home. So a lot more people have been, trying to get into to voiceovers, but that's what's changed, the amount of people doing it. I can't speak for voiceover games because I've only done Tomb Raider and Black and White, but yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I spoke to a number of actors over the course of last summer, and they just basically turned around and said, yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot more animation and a lot more game voiceover work, because at the end of the day, we're at home. We're not. What else can we do?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yeah. I mean, okay, playing fantasy casting. I mean, is there an actress currently on the playing field at the moment that you feel could do a really good Lara Croft? I mean, personally, I think Jamelia Jamil from The Good Place could possibly do a good Lara.
No, not for me.
No, okay.
No, who would I think? Oh, crikey! I have to say, I did love Keeley. She's on the scene, but I did love Keeley's. Do you know, my heart still lies with Angelina Jolie, even though she was, the film actress. I see no reason why she couldn't be the older version now. She's her voice was perfect, and they would allow her to inject that from the film into the game. So I just think she got it all down pat. I can't think of anybody that stands out. Nobody. No. Me? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so as the original Lara, I mean, I was going to say then, have you had the opportunity to listen to all of the subsequent takes on the character, and which one's been your favourite? But you say that
my heart's with Johnny.
Okay.
Johnny Elliott and I have known each other 20 odd years, 26 years, and I'm mad about her. So, I'm not being biased, probably am, I'm not, but she's my out of all of us, she's my fave. But I do love Keeley's. I thought Keeley had a gorgeous tone to her. I liked her very much. Accent, everything, perfect.
And has there been conversations to having you return to the franchise, perhaps even playing Lara's mother in a flashback, perhaps?
How dare you! There have been discussions, not for the mother. I'm gonna cry.
I didn't want to instantly age you there. I do apologize.
I'm actually younger than Lara.
But in that case, I do apologise for that.
Don't be daft. Oh, I'd love. If I could play her mother, I'd love to doing an older voice. Yeah. Why not?
Fantastic. I know that there's going to be a number of people watching this who are very much inspired by the Lara's empowerment for young girls and young women everywhere. I mean, I don't. If you could just talk about what that has meant to you personally. Certainly, I mean, gaming has always been a very male-dominated kind of occupation or something to do, but Lara really did allow girls to pick up the controllers, hit the keyboards, and play the games. If you could speak to what that means to you.
It's just nice to know that, you know, girls can see that they can be as good as the boys. Some are much better player than the boys I've seen. For me, I see my kids now. I've got a boy and a girl. They're younger, but I see my daughter. They both love Lara. They love looking at the books. They love looking at the pictures. They've seen clips from a lot of the games. But to see my daughter, you know, she draws her, and to know that she can see that a woman can do anything. If a woman wants to go out and get it, she'll go out and get it. If a woman wants to, you know, put on her shorts and go out adventuring, she can do it. She can do that. We can do anything a man can do. So apart from, you know, P standing up. So, but yeah, I'm happy to see that my daughter can see that a woman can do anything.
Fantastic. I mean, the thing that's really inspired me when it comes to seeing certainly the character of Lara Croft and how well that she's endured over the years, and we do see new characterizations of Lara. We see them in comics, we see them new games, we see the new films. I know that there's still the rumor of the second film to come from the Lara, the Tomb Raider adaptation. I mean, when you hear that Lara Croft will be back in another adaptation, I mean, that must be rather rewarding, being the OG.
It's incredible, you know. I see all these, you know, different Laras, you know, all the girls that voiced her, and the foreign voices, you know, the other girls around the world that voiced her for their countries, and the films, and I just think, you know, I originated all that, you know. I mean, look, they could have got anyone, let's face it, but you know, to be part of that history and the first in that history is magic. It really is. It's something that I'm so proud of. I'm so chuffed, and it's something very, very special. I'm very lucky. Yeah.
I mean, to wrap things up, like I say, and taking it back to that fan interaction, is there something that you would like to say to the fans that have stuck with Lara all the years, especially those that played Lara back in the day, listening to your voice as Lara Croft and playing Tomb Raider? Is there something you'd like to say to those fans?
Well, you've put me on the spot now, but I just thank them for welcoming me so much as Lara. Whichever Lara they like, that they accept me as the OG. They're, you know, when they tell me all their stories, I love to hear it. I'm so proud to be part of their history, their gaming history, and I'm always there, you know, online, listening to their stories and interacting with them. I make a point of interacting, because I know if I wanted to speak to if there was somebody I was interested in or I wanted to speak to, I would very much like them to answer me. I always answer everybody, and I'm really proud to be part of their gaming history. It's very, very special to my heart.
Fantastic. And I'm certain that I mean, it's great that you interact with the fans and you're really supportive, and also just for anybody that perhaps could be interested in voice acting or just
absolutely.
Where's the best place for people to find you online and to talk to you?
I don't do Facebook or Instagram or anything, but I'm always on Twitter, so it's @BlondeShelley. I'm always there. People DM me all the time, how do I do this? And I tell them how to set up their studio or what they should do, you know, to move into voiceovers. And you know, I'm always there. I thank them for their support of me. You know, they've been so gracious to me, and I'm very grateful for it.
Brilliant. Shelley, it's been an absolute it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Lovely to see you. It's actually seeing someone and speaking to you.
It's strange, isn't it? It's so
bonkers. I look forward to seeing you at a convention in the flesh.
It's only a matter of time. Let's all everyone get vaccinated. Let's do this, and let's finally get into the room together. Absolutely. Okay. Shelley, thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, thank you so much indeed for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all of the Wales Comic-Con content all over the course of today. And do check out the rest of the content as well, because it's all in a fantastic cause. So please do also donate generously so we can help as many people as we possibly can. For myself, Leonard Sultana, and from Shelley Blond, take care.
Thank you so much.